messaging.
A small town located 40 kilometers from Lahore city, Raiwind is famous for annual gathering. In Raiwind, a big center is established to work for Islam. It is known as the Raiwind Tablighi Markaz. Each year there is a second major gathering of Muslims after Hajj, in which an estimated 20 million people came from around the world. The history of this gathering is very old. It is said that the beginning of this gathering took place in 1949. For a period, this gathering would last for 3 days, which would usually start from Thursday, and the last day, the conclusion, ended with a collective prayer on Sunday morning. This tradition has still been established, but for the last few years, administrative matters and abuse, this gathering has been divided into 2 parts. This division has been done unanimously, so this gathering is now in 2 parts. Preparations are started several months ago. Hundreds of acres is occupied a temporary city, where requirements of life are miscellaneous. They are built and decorated, are made. Roads are made. Ways are made. Ablution place and toiletries are made and lighted is organized, and all this is under own help. The preaching community perform all these tasks with the happy pleasure of themselves for the sake of God's pleasure. The gathering addresses the preachers from India, Bangladesh, and other countries, but its most important aspect is that the names of the prescribed names are not announced before any lecture, nor most people know who will speak now. There is also a special individuality of this gathering, that it is people related to every field of life, related to almost every profession participate, and perhaps it is the main reason of success. The statements of the congregations are clear from any kind of sectarians in which people it is only called upon Allah and His Messenger.
ये मेहनत ऐसा बनने की है, ऐसा बनने के लिए मुसलमान को इज्तिमाई तौर पर, उम्मत को इज्तिमाई तौर पर अपने फर्ज मंतवी की तरफ जाना पड़ेगा। इसको दावत कहते हैं।
The schedule of statements in this gathering is something like this. The gathering begins with a brief lecture after Asr prayer, then the detailed lecture after the Maghrib is also the last lecture of that day. And every lecture individuals are taught individually in the circle. The end of the day is the end. On the next day, first lecture delivered after the Fajr prayer, and after which the breakfast is offered, since there is no lecture till Zuhr prayers, but every single person conducts education in individual groups. After the Friday prayer, the chain of narrative begins, which ends on the statement of the Asr and Maghrib. And in the same way it is also the same on the next day, and on the last day, namely on Sunday.
तो मशवरे के बाद इस सारे साथियों को बस्ती में फैला दिया जाए। हाँ, 100% मुलाकात करनी है, 2-2 साथी हो जाएं, सिर्फ 2 साथी मस्जिद में रहें, ताकि मस्जिद भी अमाल से आबाद रहें और जो मस्जिद आने वाले हैं उनको संभाल कर उनको तरगीब दें। बाकी साथी और 2 साथी खिदमत के लिए हो जाएं। बाकी सारी जमात जो है वो बस्ती में फिरे और 3-4 घंटे फिरे। उलमा से भी मुलाकात करनी है और खवास जो दुनिया के एतबार से हैं उनसे भी मुलाकात करनी है।
After which there is a collective prayer. Usually the closing prayer of a part of the gathering is done by the Haji Abdul Wahab. Many people come especially to participate in the collective prayer, and the number of people is the highest that day. In the past, many important figures from the country and abroad are participating in the past. Former Prime Minister, Pakistan Mian Muhammad Nawaz Sharif, former Prime Minister Shaukat Aziz, Mian Shehbaz Sharif, Chowdhury Pervez Ali, Sheikh Rashid Ahmed, General Hamid Gul, Nawabzada Nursa Khan, has been participating in government, business, political, religious, sports and personalities. In this gathering foreigners also participate in a large number, for which the overseas constituency is established where the statements are translated. In the congregation of the Tablighi Ijtema, 3 days, Muslims are made special prayers for the worship of God and Sunnah. In the gathering, prayers are made special for the Ummah and the security of the country. Participants demonstrate the dedication to devote themselves to the religion, while propagating the entire year for the whole year. The scenic scenes are also seen on this occasion. Participants ask forgiveness of the sins from Lord.
या अल्लाह हमारे गुनाहों को माफ फरमा, हमें जो काम अता फरमाया, जिस काम को हमारी जिंदगी के मकसद बनाया, उस जिंदगी के मकसद बनाने में, उस जिंदगी को अपनी जिंदगी के काम बनाने में, उस जिंदगी की अपने जान और माल को खपाने में बिलखुसूस हमसे जो कोताही होगी, अपने कर्म हमारी कोताही को माफ फरमा।
Thousands of formed groups after prayer are dispersed abroad to propagate religion. While the number of people devote their lives to spread a light of religion, while hundreds of people enter the name for 40 days and 4 months with preaching groups.
अब हिम्मत करके अपने अपने इरादों को जाहिर करें कि इसके लिए कौन कौन तैयार है। अपनी सलाहियतों को दीन पर लगाना और अल्लाह से इनाम और इकराम लेना, दुनिया की बरकतें आखिरत के बदले। एक साल बेरोजगारी जमात।
This gathering is doing and will continue to pay this responsibility. Even next year, the annual gathering of religious parties and delegations are also set to be held in Pakistan, even inside and outside of Pakistan, inviting every religion to Islam, accepting the Islamist forces accepting Islam and removing the Muslims from ignorance indefinitely. Allah forbid, and the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him,